AirPods Max, iMac Pros, and other stuff that might be coming from Apple soon, or maybe not. Let's talk about it. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. I'm iCave Dave to simplify Apple so that everything just works for you, and in this video we're answering some of your questions, like this one from Rodgers, who asks, iCave answers any live streaming plans for October, and yes, in fact, I'm going to try and bring back the Friday night live streams that we've been doing for a while. So last Apple Week Tonight is coming back this Friday. Things are changing a little bit in terms of schedule here with myself and my wife and things like that, so it should be pretty safe that I can do it basically every Friday. So that's the plan for now. Set your reminders. But on to actual Apple questions. Team Kinetix asks, iCave answers, it's been a while since you've showed us around the iCave. Have you made any significant changes recently? I see you're using a lav mic rather than the big mic behind you. What's your preference for audio recording on these types of videos? Yeah, there's a reason that I'm using the lav mic instead of this mic, and the main one for that is that I'm actually moving a little bit forward. It means that I can stand up. I used to sit down behind a little desk that folds out from the wall. I've basically kind of stopped using that for the moment, but it's still there. It folds out, which is quite useful for if I'm doing unboxings and things like that. The only big changes that we've done, I guess, recently is that there's now a camera above this desk, which I can use for unboxings as well. The big display that used to be above this one is now on the wall vertically over here. That's hooked up to the Mac Mini at the moment, which is the one that's going inside the Macintosh Classic, which is going to be Project 91. Got started on that, so I've been clearing some space over here. The old iMac that I used to use is still over here in the corner as well, so that's not gone anywhere. It's still in the studio. Tidied up a little bit, but not enough. As you can probably tell, I am quite chaotic in this room. We will do a proper tour, but it's going to be once Project 91's done, I guess, and this Mac Mini comes off the wall. But yeah, the main reason that I'm using the lav mic is basically so that I can move around a little bit more. It just makes life a little bit easier. This one is still used if I do live streams and that kind of thing, but also it means I don't have to sync up the audio separately after the fact. It's just kind of built in, records directly into my iPhone. Randomness asks, iCave answers, I'm still waiting for AirPods Max 2. I've got an AirPods Pro 2 and the H2 chip is amazing. I really want it in the AirPods Max. So I'm going to say I don't think we're going to get an AirPods Max upgrade this year. I think that AirPods Max is very much going to be next year. If we look at all of the AirPods so far, they've basically had a 3-year upgrade cycle. So the AirPods Max originally came out in 2020, I want to say. It was during the pandemic, right? Just after the M2 Max, I think, which would mean 2023 would be the right year. That makes sense. Cool. The AirPods Pro originally came out in 2019. They've been upgraded this year. The original AirPods 2 came out in 2018, and they were upgraded to AirPods 3 in 2021. It's a 3-year upgrade cycle. That just makes all the sense in the world. But I also don't really know what they're going to do. Yes, we could probably get this upgraded chip inside. How much difference that's going to make to most people on the regular, I don't know. Are we going to get the touch-sensitive surfaces that we had on the original prototypes and getting rid of the crown and the buttons? I don't think so. That's not going to be an easy thing to do behind aluminium because, you know, anything touch-sensitive or capacitive on aluminium is going to be tricky because how's it going to know where you're touching? However, it does feel like if the AirPods Pro have been able to get the volume adjustment from a little swipe gesture, that should also be something that would make sense to come to the AirPods Max. I think we might also get some new colours. That's always a good possibility. I do think Midnight and Starlight would be really good, and getting some more bold colours, so maybe a nice red, a solid blue, that would be pretty cool too. But yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath until 2023, and even then, not the start of the year, towards the end. Rodgers asks, iCave answers, what do you think Apple plans to do with the 27-inch mini LED panel they've been developing? Just the Pro display? No chance it's for an iMac Pro? Yeah, I think it's going to be just for the Pro display. Bear in mind this is a 27-inch panel. I don't think doing a 24 and a 27-inch iMac makes too much sense. I don't think there's enough differentiation there between the sizes, and I think the iMac itself is going to stay at the 24-inch size. I think that is going to be our consumer device. iMac Pro was very much designed just to fill the gap in between the 2013 trash can and the 2019 cheese grater Mac Pros. Apple themselves said this basically when they introduced the iMac Pro. It was £5 grand. I think that was very expensive. The display wasn't any better than the regular iMac. It was the same display, had better speakers, had better cooling, and cooling is an important thing to mention here as well. I do think it's important to remember that the iMacs that we have now are very, very thin. That's fine for an M1 or an M2 or an M3, maybe even an M1 Pro, M2 Pro, M3 Pro. But I think once you get to the Max chips and you get to the Ultra chips, which I think if you were going to do an iMac Pro, you would need to really put an Ultra in here, the same as you get with a Mac Studio. I don't think it's going to have the heat dissipation capacity. I don't think it's going to have the thermal headroom that you need to do something like that. So it makes a lot more sense to me that the iMac becomes what it's supposed to be in the first place. Anything with an I in it is supposed to be a consumer product. Anything that's got I and Pro always confuse me a little bit. iPhone Pro, okay, I get it. The iPhone is just the branding for phones in general, but a phone is a consumer device in the first place. I think iMac Pro, it makes more sense to have it as separate as having the 27-inch good quality display. If you want to go up to the Pro level display, then you can do that, but it means that your display is not necessarily related to the hardware that's going to power it, which makes more sense. It gives a lot more modularity, and everyone keeps asking for upgradability within Macs, and I think this is the way that Apple's doing it. They're letting you buy your display and keep your display as long as you want to, and then you choose your hardware for your performance and keep that for as long as you want to. This is what people have wanted. It's just that they want to be able to poke around and pull RAM sticks out. That's never going to happen with Macs. This is as close as you are going to get, especially in the era of Apple Silicon. So, what do you think? Is the iMac Pro something that Apple should bring back, or does it make a lot more sense for them to have a range of displays and a range of hardware that you can pair up as your heart desires? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the Patreons over here. And if you've got a question for a future show, hashtag iCave Answers down in the comments. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell.